Hi, this is Simon Candish and welcome to another marvelous video. Nemesis, the claimed son of Apocalypse, initially started off by attacking the X-Men base to prove his worth and successfully rose into the ranks of being one of the horsemen of the Apocalypse. A living radioactive ball enveloped in a crystalline case, he resembled the epitome of strength and agility, coming across as a dreadful threat to the rival team of X-Men. In this video, we're going to explore the dark adventures of this evil mutant, including his war with X-Man, Nate Gray, and at the end of the Age of Apocalypse storyline, which cracked open a split between dimensions. So get ready to explore the world of this mutant who grew too gruesome and deadly. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, then please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. Nemesis, aka Holocaust Origin. Apocalypse, the earliest, strongest mutant to ever exist, epitomized the survival of the fittest ideology, as preached by the nomadic tribes who raised him and were seeking to dominate over the weak but were trapped in a stagnant, mystic crypt in an unsuccessful pursuit of annexing ages ago. The exact location of the place where Apocalypse was entombed remained undiscovered in the original timeline, but centuries later, in a different era, a group of Egyptians started re-worshipping the Apocalypse and resurrected him after finding his resting place. After awakening from his dormancy, he instantaneously started taking steps to achieve his sole objective of ensuring mutant supremacy. Apocalypse, along with his four horsemen, Kandra, Gideon, War, Death, and Sabretooth, who had given their souls and bodies freely for his service, carried out the first destructive mission. After entering the Cape Citadel, they located all of the US missiles in the world and determined that they would launch them, destroying everything around them, causing mass demolition. But their plan was disrupted upon the arrival of the team of X-Men, who fought against them to prevent such a massacre from taking place and annihilating the whole shebang. At this point, Nemesis, who was declared to be the son of Apocalypse, started attacking the X-Men base, trying to win over his father's heart. But Rogue, with the help of Magneto's daughter, the Scarlet Witch, tried to resist him, but to no avail, as Nemesis succeeded in killing the Scarlet Witch during the conflict. Owing to his fanatical commitment towards him, Nemesis was embraced by Apocalypse as his newest horseman in place of Sabretooth. How Nemesis became Holocaust. An accident turns favorable for the mutant. Infuriated with his daughter's death at the hands of Nemesis and taking revenge for his unacceptable loss, he tracked and knocked Nemesis down by crushing his body to nothing but ashes, thereby permanently incapacitating him. Despite getting smashed into pieces, Nemesis surprisingly managed to stay alive, even in such a wrecked state, owing to his exceptional mutant capabilities, and tried to reconstruct himself pathetically. On returning to Apocalypse in his spiritual essence, his chief scientist, Dark Beast, constructed a crystalline confinement costume for Nemesis and reformed his material body by putting him in his toughest and almost unbreakable armor on Apocalypse's command to save the brave warrior. This complete turn of events backfired on Magneto's motives by enhancing the powers of Nemesis instead and making him even more terrifying. Matching his new spine-chilling appearance, Nemesis retitled himself and made a comeback as Holocaust. So in a nutshell, Nemesis got an imperishable upgrade, ironically because of his rival Magneto's attempts to kill him. Nemesis' marvelous story arc. Old allies turn hostile. With the advent of time, Apocalypse, with the help of his army, known as the Infinite, established a dictatorship over the continental United States. Holocaust administered his troops and played an instrumental role in the culling of the human race. He did so by mercilessly carrying out the brutal crusades of extermination of the inferior race through nuclear devastation and other violent measures. Holding Magneto responsible for the Holocaust's pathetic condition, he clenched onto a burning animosity against him and hired an elite detective to keep an eye on the team of X-Men to figure out who Magneto's closest teammate was, so Holocaust could kill him in front of Magneto as an act of revenge. Sabretooth's growing dislike towards the killing of the innocent in the Holocaust cullings of the human race instigated him to take action against this unfair persecution, leading him to get involved in a fight against the Holocaust in California. failure, but to his dismay, he was poorly defeated. Holocaust, on the other hand, also possessed a strong sense of hatred for the now-turned X-Man Sabretooth, who had backed off from his position as a horseman when he betrayed Apocalypse. Sabretooth decided to take advantage of this opportunity to punish him and was hoping to get him killed by the Wild Child. He imprisoned Sabretooth with the Wild Child in the same cell, but to his surprise, they escaped together, leaving him agitated. A blind follower of the genocidal ideology. Robert Kelly, an ardent activist for the peaceful coexistence of the mutants with the human race, managed to make the Human High Council and Apocalypse's realm sign the Kelly Pact. This was a treaty meant to stop the human cullings, but the unethical Apocalypse's troops showed no respect to this pact in the long run. Going against the terms of the signed agreement, Holocaust led another series of mass killings in the city of Chicago, with the desire of eradicating all the remaining humans left alive. To protect and evacuate the humans, Magneto discharged a team of X-Men against the Holocaust army of Infinites. During the deportation of the humans to a substantially safer place, Sabretooth resolved to settle old scores. Accompanied by Wildchild and his student Blink, they teleported to the location of the Holocaust, where he began distracting the Horsemen so he could secure the humans. Sabretooth discovered the location of the processing plant that produced all of Apocalypse's genetically manufactured troops, called the Infinites at a spot in Indianapolis, and sent Wildchild to inform the other X-Men with this key data as he battled against the Holocaust. The two exchanged severe blows while brawling, and Sabretooth succeeded to split open Holocaust's crystal armor, but fell unconscious as he exhausted himself. Holocaust's life essence wandered free for seconds, but the armor rebuilt itself on its own, leaving Holocaust standing invincible. Seeing his mentor defeated, Blink proved her exuberance after overpowering the immensely powerful Holocaust as she dumped him into the machine used to decompose helpless victims before turning them into the Infinites. As Holocaust recovered from the canister on his way to harm Blink, he was hindered by the other members of the X-Men, namely Sunfire, Morph, and Rogue. Upon feeling helpless, being unable to withstand their united strength in an injured state, Holocaust started gloating about the entrapment of Magneto and his son, named Charles, and teleported himself back to Apocalypse's fortification. But instead of getting teleported to safety, he arrived at the spot of his master's battle with the X-Man, Nate Gray. He immediately joined them to defend his father and managed to survive a deadly blast that was targeted at him by Nate. As Holocaust composed himself and prepared to fight back, Nate having his path clear, Magneto attacked Apocalypse while fighting. Nate pulled out a fragment of Micron crystal from Apocalypse's hand and stabbed Holocaust with it. As a result of the crystal's reaction to Holocaust's armor, both of them bounced over the wave that kept Earth 616 in its essential state and got relocated in an orbit around the planet. While Nate Gray fell back to the world below, Holocaust was teleported into space near Magneto's space station, Avalon, enslaved in a slab of ice and crystal. Floating in space, he caught the eyes of the acolytes of the orbital space station. Unaware of his true identity, the station provided the unconscious Holocaust a safe shelter to recover. While examining him, the acolyte Milan woke him up as he connected with his mind via his logistic support. Upon awakening, he killed the acolytes Milan and Rusty Collins, after absorbing their life force and regaining all his strength, even in the absence of his armor that had broken during the transit. He then went ahead to fight Exodus, the leader of the spaceship, and emerged victorious but unable to withstand their combined wrath. Avalon shattered and collapsed into the South Seas. Soon afterwards, he was tracked down by Sebastian Shaw, who had been looking for a powerful pal to help him restore his status among the mutants on his revival. In return for his favor, Sebastian rebuilt Holocaust crystal armor with the help of his technicians. When Holocaust returned to Earth, he came across the psiphonic being Onslaught, who had his reactions for capturing Nate Gray. After appointing Holocaust in his plan to conquer Earth, he empowered him with telepathic skills and sent him to a place called the Greek Isles, where Nate was vacationing, to get back at her. How temptation and greed led to the death of the Holocaust. The Marvel Universe showcases a diverse collection of immensely powerful artifacts, among which there is huge pink, multifaceted gem known as the M-Cran crystal that is one of a kind. The crystal encloses the nexus tip to everything in existence. The center of the crystal, serving as the point of the contact, is the key to connecting everything in the universe and beyond. The earliest narrative of the crystal that could be found is that from time to time time, the Emkran people discovered it in its housing planet, even though it's believed it existed at the very beginning of creation. To ensure that nobody was able to get through to the crystal and misuse its powers, the Emkran clan had various measures of defense to safeguard the stone, but unfortunately later, at one point, it fell into the hands of the Apocalypse. Long afterwards, when the Syard stormtroopers found 4 energies discharging from the crystal, with one being significantly big, they started investigating this, and it led them to the 4 Age of the Apocalypse survivors, who were then taken into their custody. Upon the revelation that a shard of the crystal was present inside the Holocaust, Nate Gray removed it from the Holocaust chest, though he did it through telekinesis, tearing him up from the inside. As a consequence. In the process, all 4 of them were disconnected from the energy trails of the crystal and ultimately returned to Earth once released. But the magnificent powers of the crystal tempted Holocaust to obtain it for his private agenda. Exiles were experts in the art of time traveling, so Holocaust stayed with them to execute his malicious intentions at a suitable time. In one of his many adventures with the exiles, he ended up in Crystal Palace, called Panoptitron, located outside of space and time, often believed to be within the Emkran crystal. Upon finding an evil alternate reality version of Hyperon ruling as the Emperor, having the crystal in his absolute control, enraged at the sight, he attacked Hyperion. This resulted in him getting killed as Hyperion broke his armor and successfully absorbed his life essence. Alternate version of Nemesis. Genocide of Earth 616. In an alternate version, William Rolfson was born as the son of Apocalypse, when his mother, Autumn Rolfson, had an affair with Apocalypse while serving as Famine, one of his horsemen. Fearing that his son might get killed by Apocalypse, who might treat him as a threat, William's mother hid him by going undercover for a long time. They were finally found by Warren Worthington III, aka Archangel, an individual who was succumbed to the darkness within him and emerged as Apocalypse's potential host, who brought them to the Aqaba metropolis. This version of Nemesis renamed himself Genocide and, encased in his armor, offered his service to Archangel. On Archangel's commands, he even demolished an entire town comprising a huge population as a stepping stone in achieving the duty of establishing complete control of a superior species of mutants by eliminating the inferior race of humans on the instructions of the Celestials. The Celestials gave the Death Seed to individuals chosen to assist the evolution of superior species in the world. Apocalypse, working as their agent on Earth, transformed individuals into the Horsemen of Death, using the Death Seeds in his possession. And when Apocalypse died, Archangel implanted him with a Death Seed to ascend him. Now that the X-Force was aware of Archangel's ascension, the news traveled to the Age of Apocalypse to prevent any bloodshed. To destroy the Death Seed under the direction of Dark Beast, they extracted a Life Seed with the help of the team of X-Men, but were utterly devastated to find out how they were tricked by the Dark Beast, who actually worked for Archangel and required a Life Seed for their wicked plan. Later on, when Genocide offered himself as the true heir of Apocalypse to the Celestial Gardener, and he was murdered by the Apocalypse twins along with the Celestial and the clan Aqaba. What makes Nemesis a formidable opponent for X-Men? Nemesis, aka Holocaust, possessed the miraculous mutant power of absorbing various forms of energy, including the life essence of other beings, by disintegrating them completely. This facilitated him in sustaining himself comfortably, even without any food, water, or sleep. The crystal armor built particularly for him provided enormous resistance to any damage, thereby granting him stupendous energy. In addition to helping him transmit his energy at blast and propulsive force for flight, the crystal armor preserved his volatile form, keeping him alive while ensuring the limitless of his strength. He was efficient enough to take on any type of humanoid form, as shape-changing was an incredibly amusing feature of Holocaust's armor. In times of trouble, Holocaust generated a shield of protective energy to surround himself against attacks, making him unshakable. Thus, by augmenting his strength, the armor converted him into a powerhouse, making him a formidable component for the X-Men. Other media appearances of the Nemesis. X-Men, the animated series. In the first 2 parts of the foremost episode by the name of One Man's Worth of Season 4 of X-Men, the animated series, Nemesis was spotted in the Age of Apocalypse timeline. These 2 episodes focus on a world where Professor Charles Xavier had been murdered by the supervillain Trevor Fitzroy, who possessed the power of time traveling that led to the creation of an alternate reality. Protesting, Magneto conducted an armed conflict against the Sentinels, who were Holocaust Holocaust fought against the Avengers under the command In One Man's Worth, Part 1. X-Men Legends 2: The Rise of the Apocalypse video game. Holocaust played the role of an antagonist in this video game, voiced by Peter Lorre, based on the events of the X-Men Legends. The video game series portrayed the mutant supervillain Apocalypse as the primary antagonist, working as one of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Nemesis served the role of protecting the Stepford Cuckoos, a group of mutants known as the Trinity, in Apocalypse's ancient Madri temple in Canada. Marvelous verdict, conclusion, and future scope of the character. There is a possibility of Holocaust rising from the dead and appearing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the many upcoming multiverse storylines of the Age of the Apocalypse, in future adaptations of new films or television series, as the mutant nation of Krakoa has had a power of resurrecting slain mutants. There might be deeper revelations behind the mystery surrounding his origin, possibly unearthing some of the imperative truths hidden from us currently. So, there is great excitement for what we have in store for us. And if you liked our content, well, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.